Leaves of 3, let it be. If you live on this half of North America, that rhyme is probably familiar because poison ivy rashes can be quite unpleasant. But I'm still going to rub poison ivy all over my skin to test some methods for treating poison ivy exposure. The results will definitely change how I deal with poison ivy for myself and my loved ones in the future. But remember, I'm a biologist, not a medical doctor, so I'm not offering medical advice, just a bit of fun and science. Firstly, I'll cover the basic science of what occurs when our skin is exposed to urushiol, or the oil in poison ivy that causes the rash, inflammation, and blisters. Next, I'll use this opportunity to show my nieces what poison ivy looks like, and also some non-toxic plants with 3 leaflets. Plus, the girls can see how to run a basic science experiment as we pluck some poison ivy and apply it to my body. Uh-oh, shave my legs, okay, all right. Although they may mostly remember the fun of shaving my legs. I'll test the importance of time when it comes to washing the poison ivy's oil away from the skin, what types of chemicals do better for washing, and finally I'll test a few anti-itching remedies to see what works best. Then we can examine the data to see what we've discovered. Hello, I'm Koaw of Koaw Nature, where we are always spreading knowledge to be nature heroic, and you may be wondering if I'm a little crazy for doing this poison ivy experiment. Well, of course I am. But if you watched my channel before, I enjoy experiments, whether it's letting the most venomous insects in the world sting me so I can teach about the science of their venom, or seeing how difficult it is to put on 10 pounds of muscle in 1 month, or even just seeing if I can catch a fish with my mouth. So if you're a returning subscriber and or patron from Patreon, welcome back. If you're not yet subscribed, consider subscribing, it's free, and we're always learning about the outdoors and animals here at Koaw Nature. So Toxicodendron radicans, or poison ivy, can be tricky to identify for the reason that it can exist as a climbing vine or a shrub, or a vine running along the ground, and it changes color depending on the season. Many subspecies also exist. I'll put some helpful links down in the description that are great identifying tools. The easiest method is to note the 3 leaflets where the middle leaflet tends to be larger. The toxic urushiol oil within poison ivy is found almost in the entirety of the plant, including the leaves, stems, vines, and roots. The allergic reaction caused by the urushiol within poison ivy is called urushiol-induced contact dermatitis. This is also described as a type 4 hypersensitivity reaction, and not everyone that's exposed to poison ivy will end up showing symptoms, that is the rash. I am not one of those lucky individuals. And bear in mind that the urushiol oil is clear, so you have no way of really knowing if it's on your skin or not after you've rubbed up against a poison ivy plant. The rash does not show up immediately after contact with the plant's oil, normally showing up 1 to 3 days after exposure. If the oil is not washed away pronto, and I mean like 10 minutes after exposure, and you are susceptible to the urushiol oil, a rash and other symptoms will appear and you will be stuck dealing with and or treating the symptoms. So the reaction is fairly complex, but I've simplified it in this little animation. Firstly, the poison ivy part, be it the leaf or stem, really needs to be broken or injured to release the inner held urushiol. The chemicals within the urushiol will seep into the skin. Alone, they are too small to elicit an immune response, but acting as haptens, they will bond to proteins within the skin, and then a dendritic cell, called a Langerhans cell, will grab onto the protein with the urushiol. This cell will be like, WTF, and will eventually get an antigen signal to the lymph nodes to recruit some helper T cells. This is like the cell dialing 911. If it is your first exposure to poison ivy, the T cells may ignore the situation, but remember the urushiol for the next time. Or the reaction may be really delayed, possibly for weeks. And in some people, the T cells will never react to the urushiol from poison ivy. But if the T cells decide this foreign invasion should be dealt with, they will release cytokines and chemokines, or proteins that send signals to other cells. This is what causes the itchiness and swelling. This signal is like the original arriving officer calling in the SWAT team, fire department, and ambulances as backup. They call in macrophages, which consume other cells, and they call in T lymphocytes that kill cells. They also call in more helper T cells. All of the cells are releasing signals to recruit more cells to deal with the URUSHIOL invasion. T lymphocytes kill the Langerhans cell that grabbed the protein that had originally grabbed the URUSHIOL. However, these T lymphocytes kind of go bonkers and start killing healthy cells as well. Basically, the skin turns into a little war zone, and the skin turns red and blisters, but it will heal and regenerate in time. Yes, so you won't be passing any biochem tests with that animation, but you get the gist. I don't know why I made the T lymphocytes so scary looking. Anyways, off to some field work with the girls. Okay, so today we're gonna learn about poison ivy. I got Leona and LP, and they're gonna be able to identify it using the simple 3-leaf method. Avoid anything with 3 leaves, but I want to teach them about 2 other things with 3 leaves that are around here that are not harmful: clover and strawberries. A 3-leaf plant that is harmless around here is the clover. And this is actually, there are many species of clover, but it's quite easy to identify. The 3 leaves, very symmetrical. Can you girls pick me out some clover? Can you pick me out some clover? And the flowers of the clover are actually quite edible. You get a little bit of sugar. Very good, Leona. This is the clover. Very good, LP. This is clover. This is good. So the girls have clover down. Okay, so the strawberry plant is also all over around here.
It's also a bark.
And it has 3 leaves.
And I have 2 leaves.
I don't feel too bad plucking these because these will grow back. But this is a strawberry plant leaf. Girls, let's learn it. What does this look like? It's got some pointy edges around the rim.
Strawberry plant. It's strawberry plant.
So in a little bit, in a month, this will have red fruit growing out of it. So I bet we'll actually find a couple that have some red fruit starting to grow. But it's all about sort of identifying it and just getting so familiar that when you see it, it's easy to recognize.
And there is some over here.
Yeah, very good. Okay girls, there is some poison ivy behind me. I want you to point it out, but don't touch it. Just point it out. Let's see if we can find it, okay? You can see that we have this one. I think this is a creeper or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this one, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is poison ivy, girls.
Look, a pink one.
Yeah, that one is a red leaf.
I want to take it.
No, don't take that one. Even though that's not poison ivy, it's touching other poison ivy. So we're not even gonna put our hands in here, okay? Girls are really tired, so I gotta get them home, get them fed. Tomorrow I'm gonna rub some poison ivy on me, and it's not gonna be fun, right? Okay, I'm doing my uncle duties. I have to pick up LP from school. Then we'll probably do a little bit of swimming. Then I'll collect some poison ivy and begin rubbing it on myself to begin this experiment. Okay, are you ready to get some poison ivy?
Yeah.
And then we'll rub it on me after we go swimming?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna collect some poison ivy. I'm gonna put it in this bag. Then I'll wash up to get the oil off me, go swimming, then I'll rub it on myself later. So I got plenty right here to choose from. First I have to shave my legs. I'm not gonna use a razor because I don't want to create new wounds that bacteria could get into the ivy and make things bad, right? Yeah. So we're just gonna take it down to a 1. Stop there. No, not over there. Over here, over here. Okay.
Koaw, we need your
No, I'm keeping my arm here. So yeah, it's not perfect, but I'm not trying to win any beauty contests. Okay, so the next step is to just draw, I think I'm gonna do 7 circles for the experiment spots, and I will explain what those spots will be right now. The experiment is simple and casual. I will have 7 circles on my legs, 4 on the left leg and 3 on the right leg. The poison ivy will be applied to every circle at the same time. After 90 minutes or an hour and a half, I will wash 3 circles on my left leg with 3 different methods. This circle will be washed with cold water and a bar of soap. This circle will be wiped with an isopropyl alcohol pad. And this circle will be cleaned with a sodium bicarbonate solution, also known as baking soda. This will offer a comparison for the washing methods. After 150 minutes or 2.5 hours, I will wash the 3 spots on my right leg with the same method. These will each receive different topical applications for the symptom relief or to see what works best to stop the itching. This spot will receive a hydrocortisone steroid cream. This spot will receive a zinc oxide ointment. And the final spot will receive a calcium bentonite mask. After 720 minutes or 12 hours, I will wash the final spot during a regular shower along with all the other spots. This simulates a normal shower I would take at this time. This spot is the control. This spot and the other spots on my left leg will not receive any topical treatments of symptom relief. I will record the itchiness level of each spot on my own itchiness scale, ranging from nothing felt to annoying itchiness to very itchy. And I will capture images as the rash develops and subsides. Moment of truth. I need to rub the poison ivy on my legs, and really the urushiol in these plants only comes out when you break a leaf or a stem or even a root. It's everywhere in the plant. So I'm gonna crunch up one leaf and kind of give it a good, get that urushiol really flowing. Do 3 rubs on each spot and we'll see what happens. And I'm also going to break up a bit of the stem and rub that around the middle of each one of my experiment spots, just to make sure it's getting that urushiol in there. Now I need to figure out how to wash my leg without contaminating each of the other spots. So this is the control: soap and water, alcohol swabs, and then that's going to be baking soda. First one is the soap and water. Get some tap water.
Which hole is it?
It's in all holes. I put the poison ivy in each one of these holes.
So we just responded one question, that there is poison ivy everywhere.
I washed the circle away. I think I did a pretty good job washing that.
But is the poison ivy still there?
Good question. Alright, now it's time for the alcohol swabs.
Yes.
Is it uber gross? Oop. So the last one is going to be the baking soda. I just put some in a container and such. I'm going to add some water.
Maybe the 90s. So, Kid Bad Kids, Koaw is redrawing the circles, but why did you do
This one, don't touch that one. I'm not gonna wash that.
Why?
So there's still poison ivy there. So it's get really rashy and blistery. We call that a control in science. Okay, so now I'm gonna wash off the right leg. It's been 2.5 hours, so most of that oil really should have been absorbed by my skin. So it's really just about getting off the remaining oil so it doesn't contaminate other parts of my body. And then we'll see how the different topical applications relieve itching. Okay, so I still need to leave the oil on here and I want to get some sleep. It's been 5 hours. So I made this little cover, and this is duct tape so oil shouldn't absorb into it. I'm just gonna cover it. That way I can sleep and not have the rest of the oil rub on all my sheets or whatever and spread to my leg. The symptoms did not arrive for over a day and a half. Okay, so I woke up this morning and I was so happy to have some poison ivy rash showing. Quite seriously, I was a little worried it wasn't gonna happen. But here, check it out. It was definitely showing the most. These ones are starting to appear. And then I left these on for an hour longer. And these two, even though I washed these all the same, this one is not really showing that much. And after 48 hours, it's time for the application of topical remedies where the current itchiness levels are as listed. Okay, so the poison ivy rash has set in on each one of my circles. Obviously the control got the worst of it, which is expected. I'm only going to apply these anti-itch remedies to the right leg. So the itching really hasn't been that bad, except last night in the morning around 4. I woke up because my legs were itching so bad, and I must have scratched them in my sleep, which is sort of a positive feedback loop problem because the more you itch and itch, the itchier it gets. So I'm gonna apply the ointments and clay maybe 3 times today and see if one really stands out better than the others. So I'll start with the clay. Okay, so it's 94 degrees out, and I'll tell you what, this poison ivy is now starting to itch. We can get a look at that. Leona, would you like some poison ivy on you?
No.
No? Does it look itchy on my legs?
Yes.
So, after 96 hours, the itching actually started to alleviate today. I'll tell you what, working out right now, I can feel almost every spot. Except, I've been impressed with one. I bet you can guess what it is, the remedy. And I have to run after this. These new marks are actually an outside physical trauma to my leg. A ladder fell on it. Okay, so it's been just over a week with the URUSHIOL completely absorbed in my legs. We've seen the rash. I think since the itching has pretty much reached its end, let's just go over what I discovered from this little experiment. First off, I'm not running any R analyses or anything fancy. We're just looking at simple trends for a simple experiment. On the itchiness scale of 0 to 7, our control That spot that had the URUSHIOL oil soak in for a full 12 hours was at a 3.25 itch per day, being the itchiest of all spots. For our washing methods, clearly the isopropyl alcohol did great work. And as far as the anti-itch remedies, the calcium bentonite stood out from the others. Interestingly, we can also glean from this data that washing earlier is more important than applying remedies. Leaving on the oil for an extra 60 minutes, even with the topical anti-itch remedies applied later, still offers an itchier exposure area. I think there are a few, if not more, valuable lessons learned here, and I'm so glad that the girls got to see some science in action, a basic experiment, as well as learn about poison ivy and what it looks like. And I hope that you got to learn something as well. I'm definitely going to take away from this that the most important thing when it comes to exposure to poison ivy is to just avoid touching it. But if you are encountering it, you have to clean right away. The longer the urushiol has to absorb into the skin, the worse the effects will be. For this experiment to be truly representative of a trend, we would have to run the experiment thousands more times with thousands more subjects. But you know what? I'm not doing this again. I'm content adding my data to the pool of data that's already out there. And I'm going to take away from this that isopropyl alcohol and other alcohols like rubbing alcohol are a great way to dissolve the oil on the skin and clean the skin. And I'm also content knowing that for me, if I am exposed to the poison ivy and that rash does show up, a calcium bentonite mask does great to alleviate the itching symptoms days before any of the other topical remedies that I tried. If you like what we're doing here at Koaw Nature, consider being a patron and joining the other patrons as we spread knowledge and be nature heroic. If you want to learn more about Patreon, I'll put a link down below. Check that out. It's all about spreading knowledge and being nature heroic. Alright, so I'm off to go research some more cool stuff about nature. Have a good one, and thank you again for watching.